Donald Trump's recent speech in Albuquerque, New Mexico, drew immediate attention and backlash for his comments aimed at Hispanic and Latino communities. In his efforts to appeal to Hispanic voters, Trump's awkward remark about building credentials with the community came across as insincere and tone-deaf. Given his previous controversial statements on Latin American countries and the Latino community, the remark has already triggered widespread criticism and raised questions about his approach to minority voter groups. This video dives into Trump's eventful New Mexico speech, analyzing the missteps, the reactions, and what it reveals about his ongoing approach to his 2024 campaign. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to reaching 5,000 subscribers, but we can't do it without you. So, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe right now. And if you're already subscribed, give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment to let me know your thoughts. Alright, let's dive right into it. Trump's Latino credentials comment, a tone-deaf attempt to connect. In a packed venue in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Trump took to the stage with a statement that immediately set a contentious tone. "I'm here for one simple reason. I like you very much, and it's good for my credentials with the Hispanic or Latino community," he told the audience. To some, it seemed like a clumsy attempt at connection. To others, it felt like pandering, considering his history of controversial comments toward Latinos. It's no secret that Trump's past remarks about Hispanic and Latino communities have been incendiary. From labeling Mexican immigrants as rapists and criminals early in his first campaign to his administration's hardline immigration policies, Trump has left a trail of rhetoric and actions that many find offensive. In this context, his comment in Albuquerque was seen by some as a superficial effort to bridge a gap that his own past statements helped create. Contradictions and controversy. The F-35, F-22, and the weave. After his initial comments, Trump went on to discuss various unrelated topics, leading to an unexpected mention of fighter jets, specifically the F-35 and F-22. Trump's remarks on these military aircraft were not only confusing but also bizarre. As he claimed, "I bought a lot of them personally. I like the F-22 the best." Trump then made a comment about doing a weave, which added a strange twist to the conversation. Many observers noted that this anecdote did little to bolster his credibility and even hinted at incoherence in his speech. For some, this off-topic detour raised concerns about his grasp of the subjects he was discussing and his ability to stay focused. The confusion in Trump's Albuquerque speech has sparked renewed discussion about his mental acuity. Some critics argue that his disjointed narrative is symptomatic of a larger issue, pointing out that his speeches often veer into unrelated topics, leaving audiences bewildered. This episode, including his remarks about the F-35, F-22, and his weave, has added fuel to this debate, with some questioning whether he is fit for the presidential office. Insulting the audience and contradictory claims. As Trump continued, he seemed to edge further into risky territory, turning his words toward his own audience. In what many saw as an insult, Trump recalled a recent speech in Las Vegas where he bluntly told the crowd, "I don't care about you. I just want your vote." This statement, along with his Albuquerque appearance, has fed into the narrative that Trump views voters as a means to an end rather than constituents to be respected. Beyond his comments about the audience, Trump also made an unsubstantiated claim that he almost won New Mexico twice, then asserted that he actually did win, further adding to the confusion. In reality, Trump lost New Mexico in both the 2016 and 2020 elections, and his inability to acknowledge this fact struck many as a deliberate attempt to rewrite history. Such remarks have amplified criticism of his tendency to dismiss factual accuracy, especially when it doesn't align with his narrative. Critiquing Kamala Harris and comments on leadership. Continuing his digressions, Trump turned his attention to Vice President Kamala Harris, making disparaging remarks about her intelligence and competence. "Nothing is more dangerous than to give immense power to a weak and not very smart person," he said, pointedly alluding to Harris. Trump's suggestion that presidential candidates should undergo cognitive testing has only added to the sense of irony given the frequent concerns about his own mental fitness. The choice of vice president, Trump argued, should be strategic to avoid overshadowing the president. His comments seemed aimed at Harris, whom he described as not a smart person. For many, this part of his speech came off as more of a personal vendetta than a genuine policy proposal, adding to the criticism that Trump's attacks lack substance and rely on personal insults. Electric vehicles and the Gapo stuff, remark. Trump's speech also ventured into energy policies, particularly electric vehicles. He claimed, without evidence, that he was pressured by authorities to go all electric, calling this mandate Gapo stuff. While it's unclear what he meant by Gapo, the vague criticism left many scratching their heads. In what has become a recurring theme, Trump's refusal to clearly articulate his positions has frustrated both his supporters and his critics. The push for electric vehicles and renewable energy is a point of contention in U.S. politics, yet Trump's comments did little to provide clarity on where he stands. His remarks came across as vague and disconnected, leaving voters with more questions than answers. Bizarre accusations of booing at Harris and Beyoncé event. Toward the end of his speech, Trump made an unverified claim that Vice President Kamala Harris and singer Beyoncé were booed at a recent event, a statement that has since been debunked. Contrary to Trump's assertion, the event attracted a large crowd, with approximately 75,000 people in attendance. This episode highlights Trump's tendency to inflate or fabricate situations to diminish his opponents. His comment was quickly fact-checked and dismissed, but it showcased his approach to campaigning, a blend of spectacle and distortion. The Brett Favre mention and reflections on leadership. In a perplexing pivot, Trump praised former NFL quarterback Brett Favre, whom he described as strong and a leader. Trump's admiration for Favre seemed out of place, given the lack of connection to the rest of his speech. The seemingly random mention highlighted the lack of focus in Trump's address and added to the impression that he was struggling to stay on topic. This anecdote, while trivial, underscores the broader issue of Trump's tendency to digress into unrelated territory, diluting his message and confusing his audience. Contradictions on cognitive testing and weak leadership. As he wound down his speech, Trump again emphasized the importance of intelligence and strength in the presidency. Ironically, he suggested that cognitive tests be mandated for all presidential candidates, an idea that he has often advocated, but one that some critics feel he should take himself. These contradictions underline the incoherence of his arguments and the blurred line between his policy proposals and personal vendettas. Donald Trump's Albuquerque speech has drawn criticism for its contradictions, disjointed comments, and dismissive tone toward the Hispanic and Latino communities. His remark about credentials with the Latino community, in particular, has struck a sour note, casting doubt on his commitment to reaching out to minority voters. Coupled with his disparaging comments about Vice President Kamala Harris and his frequent veering off topic, the speech has raised concerns about Trump's strategy and stability as he ramps up his 2024 campaign. For a candidate vying to reclaim the White House, Trump's performance in New Mexico seemed more like a chaotic, off-the-cuff rant than a coherent policy address. The reactions to his comments suggest that his approach may not be resonating with the very communities he aims to win over, and his disregard for factual accuracy continues to alienate potential supporters. As the 2024 election cycle intensifies, Trump's Albuquerque speech may serve as a cautionary tale for a campaign that increasingly relies on spectacle over substance.